A scandalous entrepreneur has become the center of attention. A court in the United Kingdom rejected his application for recognition of copyright on the first cryptocurrency. In February, the results of a legal case became known, in which the self-proclaimed creator of the first cryptocurrency, Craig Wright, lost the case related to the alleged infringement of his copyright on a digital asset. The enthusiast continues to insist that he is the author of the Bitcoin white paper, and therefore, he is the anonymous developer under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. To understand what chances the entrepreneur has for such rights established by a court order, it is worth considering some facts from his biography. The legend of Craig Wright. Craig Wright is an Australian businessman with many initiatives and enterprises to his credit. It is known that the self-proclaimed Satoshi Nakamoto specialized in French cuisine in the early 90s. A little later, he worked for a catering company, table setting, cooking, and food delivery. It was at this time that Wright decided to develop his page on LinkedIn. Wright's previous initiatives, previously published on LinkedIn, raised many questions from cryptocurrency fans. It is worth noting that this page still exists, but it has been edited several times and currently contains completely different information. On the old page, it was claimed that Wright was a doctor of computer technology. He allegedly received his degree from Charles Sturt University in Sydney, CCU. However, this information was not confirmed. Forbes requested information from the university, and CCU representatives stated that Wright did not receive anything from them. And although false information about achievements from the past is not something extraordinary on the internet, it is interesting that on the same page, Wright claimed that in addition to it, he also studied finance. That is, two industries that intersect in cryptocurrency. Some users assume that these were preparations for future statements and legal proceedings. Also, if you analyze Wright's resume, you can find many claimed scientific degrees from various universities. He wrote in his biography, "I am something like an academic addict who moves from one degree to another as a hobby." By the way, his first degree, which he received in 2003, was in theology.
Thus, a reasonable question arises, can a person be so talented as to obtain degrees in completely different fields? Or is he promoting himself from a media point of view and preparing arguments in favor of his version of the history of cryptocurrency creation? According to his statements, he created the first cryptocurrency and participated in initial mining together with Dave Kleiman.
Wright also presented a list of addresses where 1 million BX were located, claiming that he does not have access to them as the coins were transferred to the Tulip Trust. He never disclosed where he got the list of addresses from, and no evidence was presented of Wright owning Satoshi Nakamoto's bitcoins. Interestingly, messages were sent from some of the addresses on the list later stating that Craig Wright is a fraud and does not actually own the corresponding keys. Also interesting is the court case of Wright against the co-owner of Bitcoin.org, known under the pseudonym Cobra, which was related to the request to remove technical documentation on Bitcoin from the website. As a result of the disputes, Cobra hinted that the entrepreneur is not the owner of the early Bitcoin addresses, offering him to pay the legal costs in BX to the address associated with block number 9. It should be noted that filing for copyright is not equivalent to filing for a patent. In 2019, another enthusiast filed similar requests as Wright did with the Copyright Office. In other words, since 2015, Wright began publicly claiming that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. This led to a series of scandalous court cases that were only recently resolved. Wright v. Hodlanut case, for example, Wright was opposed by a Bitcoin follower under the pseudonym Hodlanut, who questioned in social media the fact of Wright's involvement in creating Bitcoin. Wright accused the other party of discrediting him and causing damage to his reputation. The court took into account investigations conducted by several media outlets on the statements of Craig Wright. They all confirmed the version that Wright is not Satoshi Nakamoto. The court also took into account the fact that Wright is unable to provide cryptographic evidence to prove that he is the creator of the first cryptocurrency. As a result, the court ruled that Hodlonaut was entitled to state that Wright is not Nakamoto, as the Australian programmer made an ambiguous provocative statement that could be met with a skeptical assessment. The court ordered Wright to pay the other party around $1, and the claims against Hodlonaut were dropped. The Wright v. McCormick case. In this case, cryptocurrency blogger Peter McCormick, specializing in Bitcoin, became Wright's opponent. He published a post on social media and YouTube stating that Wright is not Satoshi, accusing him of lying and fraud. Wright sued McCormick, claiming that these statements damaged his reputation. The entrepreneur added that due to the controversial publications, he was not invited to a number of events and conferences where he could have earned money. However, the court found the information in the lawsuit to be knowingly false. In August, Wright was awarded only in damages. Presumably, the judge, after studying the arguments of both sides, decided that the damage suffered by the Australian programmer did not exceed this amount. In addition, at the end of the lengthy process, Wright was ordered to pay McCormick's legal costs. Moreover, he was accused of disrespecting the court. Wright posted the results of the court decision on social media, although he did not have the right to do so at the time. As a result, the entrepreneur himself could have been brought to court. However, McCormick also failed to come out unscathed. The court ordered him to pay $1 million in legal costs to Wright under a previous decision from October 2021, according to which McCormick was unable to prove that he was telling the truth when he called Wright a fraudster. Although the final amount requested by Wright was significantly higher. Thus, Craig Wright did not win either of his cases in full. In both cases, he had to pay a certain amount of money and incur expenses. Is Craig Wright Satoshi Nakamoto? Many still question this fact. It's difficult to speculate on his true motives, but the entrepreneur is eager to share the results of his legal battles and strives to stay in the spotlight. In the past, Craig Wright failed to provide sufficient and conclusive evidence that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. The recent court rulings do not favor the Australian entrepreneur and his claimed copyright to the first ever cryptocurrency. The final decision of the Court did not confirm this version either.